the stories making the headlines this Thursday. It's the ITV Lunchtime News.
Britain braces for Storm Gerretti. The Met has described the forecast storm as a multi-hazard event with heavy rain, strong winds and snow. Our teams are in the regions with the strongest warnings as people prepare for the first named storm of 2026. Also, this lunchtime, more than 130 officers and staff at the Met were not properly vetted, including 2 serial rapists. In America, the woman shot dead by an immigration officer and the protests that followed her killing. And
up for Yorath.
Tribute to the football star Yorath, who's died aged 75.
This is the ITV Lunchtime News with Hossain.
Good afternoon. The British Isles brace for Storm Gerretti. The Met Office has issued amber weather warnings for snow in parts of the Midlands and Wales from this evening and for wind in the southwest of the country. Meanwhile, yellow weather warnings for snow, wind and rain remain in place for much of the country. The amber warning for heavy snowfall in the Midlands and Wales is set to last until tomorrow morning, with warnings of dangerous travel conditions and possible power cuts. Much of the rest of the country will remain under yellow warnings for snow and rain. And in the Channel Islands, there are red warnings for wind combined with a high tide there. There are warnings for islanders to stay inside. Alex Spicely is in Jersey, Sangeeta Lal is in Newquay in Cornwall, and Rhys Williams is in Rhymney Valley in South Wales. To Alex first. How is it where you are this lunchtime, Alex?
Well, it doesn't look like much right now, but by this evening we'll be facing the full brunt force of Storm Gerretti with gusts of 90, possibly 100 miles per hour. To put that into perspective, that means there is a real risk to life here in the Channel Islands. The official advice from our governments is to stay at home. Jersey, Guernsey and Alderney airports will be closing this evening. Some are being allowed to leave work early, and if you can, you're being asked to pick up your children from nursery. Supermarkets will be closing and the buses will stop running. Now, it was just a couple of years ago we were hit by Storm Ciarán with hurricane force winds and a tornado, one of the worst in the British Isles since the 1950s, with winds of 186 miles per hour, causing mass disruption. Now, Jersey Met have assured me today that they're not expecting that to happen again because the sea temperature is lower. However, they can't rule it out. Now, another problem to contend with tonight is that the height of the storm will be coinciding with high tide, so we're expecting waves up to 15 foot high. So the message here in the Channel Islands is clear. Stay safe and stay at home because there is a real risk to life.
Well, here in Cornwall, it does feel like that storm is inching closer. It's pretty uncomfortable to be in this weather when you're walking. There's gusts of winds lashing rain into your face and you're soaked within a few minutes. This is only 20-mile-an-hour wind at the moment, and this is forecast to get up to 100 miles an hour across Cornwall just within a few hours. There is now an amber and yellow weather warning issued for later this afternoon for about 3 o'clock across the region. They might be a bit too far away for you to see. There are surfers actually in the water at the moment taking advantage of these strong winds. The advice, though, is only enter the water if absolutely necessary. The weather is going to cause travel disruption. Already Network Rail say that trains from Cornwall up to Exeter and Barnstaple will be suspended from 6 o'clock this evening, and there is a possibility that this wind will cause power cuts. The National Grid say they've got dozens of engineers on standby. If you are affected, then call 105.
Now, this may look like a fairly typical Thursday in January in the South Wales valleys, but the forecast for tonight is anything but. There are multiple warnings in place. A yellow warning for rain, which will intensify over the next few hours on the southwest coast of Wales. There's a warning for wind too. It won't be as intense as in Cornwall or in the Channel Islands, as we were hearing there, but gusts could reach 70 miles per hour in Pembrokeshire, and residents are being asked to take care, in particular, around the coast. But it's the snow that's really concerning the Met Office and the authorities in Wales. There's an amber warning which covers the vast majority of inland Wales, areas like the South Wales valleys, Ceredigion, Carmarthenshire, Powys, then up to North Wales, Wrexham, Denbighshire, Connaught, Gwynedd, all are under this amber weather warning, and they're warning in particular about those towns and villages higher than 200 metres in elevation. They could see up to 30, even 40 centimetres of snow, and with the high winds as well, there could be significant snow drifts. Local authorities are concerned that rural communities, I should say, could be cut off, and some main trunk roads could even be impassable. As ever with snow, of course, it's very difficult to predict. It won't be clear how bad it's hit until tomorrow morning. We're expecting the snow to hit Wales first, and it will be hitting around tea time this evening.
Reese, Sangeeta and Alex there in Jersey, thank you very much. Thank you. And to find out how your area will be affected by Storm Gerretti, visit our website at the usual address, itv.com/news. More than 130 officers and staff in Britain's biggest police force, including 2 serial rapists, committed crimes or misconduct after they were not properly vetted, a review has found. David Carrick, one of the UK's worst sex offenders, was among Metropolitan Police officers who were not properly checked. Charanpreet Kara has the details.
What is it you're searching for?
David Carrick is one of the UK's worst sex offenders, now jailed with 37 life sentences. Cliff Mitchell carried out more than 50 sex attacks over 9 years. Both were hired by the Metropolitan Police to protect the public. Carrick in 2017, when vetting failed to reveal a domestic abuse allegation against him, and Mitchell in 2020, after a panel overturned a decision to reject him from the police, despite a previous accusation of raping a child.
Do something real. Become a police officer in London's Met.
Under the Police Uplift programme and national drive from 2019 to 2023, the Met relaxed vetting in a bid to hire 4,500 recruits. During that time, around 1,200 people who joined the force may have failed normal vetting checks. And the problem stretches even longer. In the decade to March 2023, at least 131 recruits were not properly vetted and later went on to commit crimes or serious misconduct.
Do you know Sarah? I don't know.
One of them was Wayne Cousins. Recruited in 2018 despite multiple red flags, including indecent exposure, he then murdered Sarah Everard in 2021.
We are getting men drawn to power, not public service, and we're letting them in. We're not even checking anything about them. They're emboldened, they act with impunity, and it isn't getting any better.
Insiders say these revelations will only deepen that mistrust.
The vetting process is key because you're going to be dealing with some of the most vulnerable people in society. And we've had a number of cases like Wayne Cousins, David Carrick, where clearly those standards have fallen.
The Met says it has now fixed past vetting failures and tightened standards. But the report highlights at least 5 other forces also missed reference checks during the nationwide Police Uplift programme, raising concerns about police standards elsewhere. Charanpreet Kara, ITV News.
The former Premier League referee David Coote has been sentenced to 9 months in prison, suspended for 2 years, after a sexual video of a 15-year-old boy was found on his laptop. The 43-year-old previously pleaded guilty to making an indecent, moving image of a child of the most serious kind. Sentencing him at Nottingham Crown Court, the judge said he had had a spectacular fall from grace. The government is expected to announce a U-turn on increases to the business rates bill faced by pubs. It's believed the government will say they'll make changes to how business rates are calculated, resulting in smaller rises to bills. The move follows pressure from landlords and industry groups that included more than 1,000 pubs banning Labour MPs from their premises. A 37-year-old woman has been shot dead by US immigration agents in the city of Minneapolis. The Trump administration claims Rennie Nicole Good was a violent rioter who'd been attempting to run over officials, but city and state leaders dispute that, saying she was out caring for her neighbours. The incident happened just a mile from where George Floyd was killed in 2020. And we should warn you, Lorna Shaddick's report begins with the moment of the Still ahead, why more than 5 million people are at risk of becoming addicted to nasal sprays. And the footballing world reacts to the death of the former Wales captain, Terry Yorath. Some NHS hospitals are adapting corridors and other spaces to provide care by installing plug sockets and emergency call bells in a bid to minimise patient safety risks, and investigation has found. A new report by the Health Safety Watchdog said hospitals may have no choice but to use these spaces, and called for health leaders and trusts to work together to systematically address risks. I'm joined by our health correspondent, Rebecca Barry. It sounds like so-called corridor care is here to stay.
Yeah, it does sound like that. This winter we've been investigating corridor care, and this report today really confirms to me what many members of the public and NHS staff have been telling us. The Health Safety Watchdog says that corridor care is not just confined to the winter months, it's year-round for some hospitals. They say that it's not only compromising patient safety, but also obviously compromising patient privacy and dignity. I want to show you a video. Yesterday, ITV News secretly filmed this, a hospital scene that I think is harrowing, actually, in its normality. It's at the Royal Liverpool University Hospital, but we're not singling them out. This has sadly become commonplace in many parts of the NHS. You can see around 17 patients queuing along a crowded corridor. You can see how routine it is. They've even put up partitions to attempt privacy, but clearly treating anyone in a walkway is denying them dignity at the very least. And we spoke to one woman, 83-year-old Valerie Johnstone, who spent 29 hours on that corridor in the spring before last, not the busy winter months, and she's actually a former nurse who now feels traumatised by the current state of the health service.
I'll die in my bed before I'll go back to the hospital. Because I don't want to lie in a corridor in agony. I might as well lie in my bed in agony. There's nobody here with me to look after me here, but I'm in a comfortable bed and I'm not on a corridor, on display to everybody that's walking up and down that corridor.
Well, the hospital told us that this is not what they would want for any patients, and staff are working incredibly hard to provide safe and dignified care in what can be incredibly challenging circumstances. The government says it is determined to end this, but it admits there will be a long road ahead. Meanwhile, today we learned that there's been a slight resurgence in flu cases, which will, of course, only ratchet up the pressure on hospitals.
Rebecca Barry, thank you. Thank you very much. A survey suggests a fifth of those who use decongestant sprays have done so for longer than 7 days, risking developing a dependency. The research was carried out by ITV News and Ipsos and suggests potentially more than 5 million people are at risk of becoming addicted to the sprays. Sam Holder has the details. Coming in to talk to me this lunchtime. In your opinion, from what you've seen and heard in this survey, how big a problem is this?
It's very concerning. I think there's, as you've seen there with the statistics, not many patients are aware of rebound congestion and the effects of long-term use that using these decongestants can have. We often have patients coming in who have actually thinks they've got blocked ears because their hearing has gone muffled, but it's actually a result of overuse of these decongestants, so it can be a real serious problem. and it creates this vicious cycle where they have to constantly use these decongestants to get relief, and then we need to go through a weaning off process to get them off that and to get that relief without these kind of use of these medicines.
And just explain it in the clearest details, if you will, what actually happens when you're using these sprays for longer than you meant to.
So for short-term use, they work very well, and all medicines can heal, but they can also harm. So in the short term, it constricts the blood vessels and opens up the nasal passages to help you breathe more easily. But as you use them more longer term, your body gets less receptive to the medicine, and then you're having to find what's happening is patients are using it more often to get that relief. The body overcompensates by creating further swelling once the medication wears off, and it's this vicious cycle, a vicious loop that continues.
And if you are watching this and you're thinking, oh yeah, I've got mine in the cupboard, I'm using it every day, what's your advice in terms of trying to come off it?
Well, two things. I think talk to your pharmacist, your GP. They'll be able to support you on a weaning off protocol to reduce the use of these nasal sprays and help you through that difficult period.
What does that look like, the weaning off?
It might just be reducing the amount of dosages that you're using per day, perhaps using it in one nostril instead of the other, using other types of sprays or medicines like saline nasal sprays as well, steam inhalation, menthol crystals, various different things that we can suggest. It's all going to be tailored to each individual patient with their experience. The greater concern here is actually many of these medicines are available in general retail stores or supermarkets, and actually what we want to do is make sure that patients are getting their advice from trained professional clinicians like pharmacists for medicines, because all over-the-counter medicines have these risks and they are generally intended for short-term use, so not long-term. If you are a patient who is finding that potentially using these kind of medicines, any over-the-counter medicines, longer than short-term, kind of a week or so, talk to your pharmacist, and we'll be able to help you and signpost you and safety net you into the relevant healthcare professional.
There are calls for better labelling in terms of the length of use. Do you think that will really work in terms of if you're the sort of person that's already addicted to it? Is that going to help?
I think definitely. You've seen that the Royal Pharmaceutical Association's calling for that. The National Pharmacy Association also supports that message. Although the information is on the leaflets, like the manufacturers say, it's very small. You need something on the packaging, almost like cigarettes or codeine-based medicines, which is much more prominent for patients to see. So we definitely support that ask, definitely. Yeah.
Big alarm bells on the packaging. Sanjeev Panesar, thank you very much for coming in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Finally, the Leeds United legend and former Wales captain Terry Yorath has died at the age of 75. The football star's daughter, broadcaster Gabby Logan, and her siblings led the tribute, saying to most he was a revered footballing hero, but to us he was Dad, a quiet, kind, gentle man. Here's Faye Barker.
Very well done.
Terry Yorath is called a Leeds legend for his 199 appearances for the club in the 60s and 70s. He also became captain for Wales before later, as manager, leading them to the brink of the 1994 World Cup finals, only to lose to Romania in their last qualifier. His daughter, presenter Gabby Logan, had to leave Match of the Day mid-programme last night.
Sadly, Gabby has got a family emergency.
Today, in a joint statement with her siblings, she said, "To most, he was a revered footballing hero, but to us, he was Dad, a quiet, kind and gentle man. Our hearts are broken, but we take comfort knowing that he will be reunited with our brother, Daniel."
He collapsed.
In 2017, Yorath spoke to ITV about Daniel's sudden death from an undetected heart condition at the age of 15.
His death was a nightmare. He was a great kid.
Look, I need to talk to a man who understands me. Dad, are you there?
His close relationship with Gabby was evident in her early career, as the pair shared jokes during an episode of On the Ball when he was manager of Huddersfield.
How do you know that, Gabby? We don't know that yet.
Inside information here.
I've spoken to Mum at home.
Among tributes today, Leeds United said, "Everyone is devastated to learn of the passing of club legend Terry Yorath." The FA of Wales wrote, "The thoughts of everyone are with Terry's family, friends and loved ones." He died aged 75 after a short illness. His career as player and manager never forgotten.
Terry Yorath, who's died at the age of 75. Charlene is here with the evening news from me. Bye-bye.